Hello, and thank you for being with me again. A part of our spiritual life that you very seldom hear spoken about is the effect that such a spiritual life has in your life. We often talk about the difference it makes to other people, in our relationships with them and how we deal with them and so on. And I wanted to speak this time about what happens in your own life as your spirituality grows. You see, if you even stopped for a moment and just considered what your life would be like if the interactions you have with other people were based on Christian love, on really wanting what's best each for the other, and that you were looking out for each other in whatever you did, just how different your life would be. Also consider when someone approaches you in a very loving, friendly way, how you react. And then just think about, what about for other people when you act towards them, either with love or with aggression? One of the difficulties people have when they consider a spiritual life is they think, but people are going to take advantage of me. If I am this person who's always only doing good to other people, not retaliating and so on, aren't they all just going to take advantage of me and get what they want out of me and so on? And obviously, as we're growing, it can feel sometimes as if we're giving and no one else is giving back. But that's only part of our growth. And actually what the whole thing is about is that as your spirituality grows, so your relationships with everyone you meet improve. And obviously when a relationship improves, it improves for you as well. It's not only the other person that benefits. It improves because not only are people more open and easier to deal with, but it improves because in your own heart, you know that you are making a difference and that actually the way you're treating people is the way they should be treated. And so even if someone comes at you with a lot of aggression, from a spiritual standpoint, you can recognize that aggression is always a sign of fear. You can see it in the animal kingdom, and you can see it in life between people. When there's aggression, it's always because somebody is afraid. Now, I know that a lot of people who walk around and flex their muscles will be a bit put out at that claim, but it actually is true that when people act aggressively, they're wanting you to understand you better not even try that with me. Whereas in fact what's causing that is that inside they're afraid of how they'll deal with the situation if they have to deal with this thing of whatever you're coming with. When you approach a person with love, they can sometimes be set back completely. You sometimes have to give them some time to get onto that wavelength, because people are so unused to that approach that they don't recognize it necessarily instantly. However, with care on your part, to make the other person understand that you're not coming there with aggression yourself, you're coming there genuinely to interact with them on a human, very caring basis, their approach to the whole situation changes as well. And this is borne out in so many examples that we see around us in life, and as you try it out, you'll see for yourself that it does actually work like that. The difficulty comes, as I say, in accepting that perhaps sometimes until your own understanding of how you're relating to people develops, you may feel that people are taking advantage of you and that you're always the one giving in. But you see, if you're acting on your terms, if you're acting out of a decision you've taken to act out of love, you're actually not losing out. The interaction is taking place according to what you want. The difficulty is that also sometimes we feel that our efforts to bring these things into the world and into relationships between people where we live is rather ineffective, that we don't really believe that it can change very much. Well, this is where, particularly, for example, the parables of the salt of the earth, the wheat and the chaff, the mustard seed and the bush that grows from it, and the leaven or the yeast in the dough, were all put there by Jesus to teach us that actually even the thing that afterwards is not seen, the salt is not there to be tasted as salt afterwards, the yeast is not there to be tasted as yeast afterwards, and yet without them whatever is made will be completely different and won't be nearly as tasty and as enjoyable as it is with them. And the same is true. The reason for the also for the parable of the mustard seed is to show that from something seemingly insignificantly small, this huge bush can grow. And so your kindness and your love towards other people can grow and will grow, we are guaranteed, where Jesus says you'll produce 100, 60 or 30-fold results from what you put in. And so we can be sure that this will change not only the lives of others, but our own lives, and make our own lives that much more enjoyable as well. And I pray that as you practice this, that your life will become more and more fulfilling, and you'll be more and more sensitive to that happiness that only that type of life can bring. And may God bless you. Thank you.